everybody's welcome to be a contributor, and doesn't matter your level. So the first step, if you want to be part of the project and be proactive in the project, is to go to make.wordpress.org. That's where you will find all the information about all the different teams that are working to make WordPress better. As you can see here, and in the welcome message of the page, is from the beginning is saying to you, hey, you can be a developer, you can be a pixel perfect designer, whatever you are. If you use WordPress, you can be a contributor. But one very common question, I've been contributing for 7 years now, and a lot of people come to me and they ask me, but why? Why you spend your free time in contributing to a project? I know everybody's super busy all the time. I know that all of us, we have our full-time jobs. Sometimes it's related with WordPress, other times it's not because you use it as a hobby. And there's so many reasons why you can be a contributor and why it will benefit you. But I'm going to tell you just a few ones that I would like to highlight today about why it's so important to be a contributor in WordPress. The first one is profit. It seems sometimes like a taboo. You're a contributor and you're not being paid for helping the project, right? Directly. But you get so much profit. I can tell you that in my personal experience, one of the best things professionally that I have done is being contributor to WordPress. You get so much learning from the best ones, and at the end is a question of getting value professionally and personally, working with so many people all around the world. Another one is the professional development that you get. You're working in a global contributor, you work in a global project that is going on 24 hours per day, 365 days per year, and with people from every country, different cultures, but everybody working for the same project. All of us, we want this tool to be better because we make a living with it. I can assure you that when you're working with the best ones and when you're working with so many people, something is going wrong if you don't get better. I can assure you that you learn so many new things every day when you're working with so many people in so different areas. And you have a lot of different areas to participate in the project. Be an authority is another of the good values that you can get when working in a kind of project like this. This is open source, and at the end, even if you are a freelancer or even if you are work for a company, when you're getting involved so much with a project like this, you know what's going on in the project. You have a voice to take decisions like what is the future, new features, etc. And your clients or your employer will appreciate it very much. So it's another way of getting value for your career. And of course, make WordPress better. All of us, or I make a living with WordPress, and a lot of people here make a living with WordPress, and the ones that you don't do it, maybe you would like to do it one day. So it's in our best interest to make WordPress better. So the first step, if you are interested on, okay, I would like to help the project, I have no clue how. The first step is to join a Slack. A Slack is where all WordPress contributors to the project, they meet about any team. So it's the new way to communicate with the rest of the WordPress contributors in the world. So if you want to you only have to join a Slack. You only need a WordPress.org username. If you have the WordPress.org username, just go to that URL and you have the instructions. It's like a 5 seconds step to join. And if not, go to WordPress.org, register, and then go here. Here is where all the people that make WordPress better in some way, doesn't matter if it's a translation, doesn't matter if it's development, doesn't matter if it's design or documentation, everybody is meeting there. So that's the first step. And now is the sections. WordPress is not only development, or WordPress is not only coding. If you look at this schema of all the themes, we have more themes now, but this is the old flyer. In any case, so if you see all the teams that are going, doing things for WordPress, there are only 4 of 14 which need you to know coding. So for all of you that are coders, you're always welcome, but for all of you that are not coders, you're always welcome too. And WordPress is an open source project open to everyone, and everybody's welcome to participate in any team. All teams are always, we have a lot of work to do and a lot of things to do and a lot of, so everybody's welcome to join any of the teams. So have a look at some ones. This is, in my opinion, this is the best. If you have never contributed to WordPress, this is one of the easier and fastest ways to start contributing. So there is, if you know the forums of WordPress.org is where, all the people have questions and go to ask for their questions, etc. You can be just a contributor of WordPress, just answering questions in the forums. And maybe you're thinking, hey, I'm not good enough, but I'm sure you know more than other people. And sharing your knowledge is another way of helping the project and to learn. Because every time you need to answer a question, you're going to research a little bit. And it was my way. It was how I started to contribute with WordPress. I was, for a long time, I was very active in the forums, and I learned a lot from others and from answers of others. But in any case, sharing your knowledge is always a great way of learning, on improving, and helping the project to grow. So if you want to be active in decisions about the forums and how things are going on, I'm showing you here the URL of the team of support. They meet every week on Slack in the channel forums, okay? But you don't need to join the meetings to be active in the forums or to help on support. You only need to go to WordPress.org/support, and you can just start helping people or answering questions or etc. So another way is, if you are good or you think you're good on documentation or creating tutorials or etc., that's a great way to contribute to the project as well. Because there is a lot of documentation that is still not done. If you go to codex.wordpress.org, you will see how much information and tutorials and, about everything about WordPress that you have, but there is still so many things to write, for beginners, for people that are starting and I don't know how to do things, and the documentation team is a very active one, but they always need people. So that's a great way as well to get involved with WordPress. So in codex.wordpress.org, you have all the instructions to how to get a start and how to just start writing a tutorial about how to use some part of WordPress, wherever. If you want to just join the team active in this, you can go to docs, the channel docs on Slack. Another one, which I think is one of my favorite ones, and a lot of people don't know this team, is the training team. So there is a very, very active team about this, and they're like a group of people who work teaching about WordPress. So they're creating like a lot of material for teachers and for people that do courses or workshops or etc. So they're creating a lot of material for you. If you want to teach WordPress to someone, just go there. You can go, this is a Slack channel when they talk, and you can communicate with them and to say, hello, I want to participate in this team. But if you go to make.wordpress.org/training, you can see all the material that they're creating. If you are a teacher, for example, or you're doing workshops in your meetup group, for example, you just go there and you will get a lot of slides, etc. So that's a very interesting team as well. If you're interested in teaching, for example, if you're interested in making translating that material into Danish. That could be a good contribution as well, and to help your local community, of course. So another one, this is the team where I'm contributing right now, is the community team. So we meet once a month in the channel events, and this team is related with all the WordPress events that are going on in the WordPress community. So if you want to contribute, there is so many ways to contribute to WordPress, right? And organizing an event like this is contributing to WordPress as well. And thank you to all the organizers here for doing this today, for me to be here. So if you have experience on organizing events, if you are interested on organizing a meetup in your city, everybody's welcome to organize any WordPress event in their cities or etc. And we are here, all the community team, we are here to support you, with documentation, with tools, etc. Any question related like, hey, I want to create a meetup group in my city, I don't know how, just go to the channel events on Slack. That channel is full of WordCamp organizers, meetup organizers, mentors, and we try to be as useful as possible with everyone. So in WordCamp Central, we have a list of all the upcoming WordCamps. We are very active, especially in America and in Europe. And in meetup.com/pro-WordPress, we have the list of WordPress meetup groups that have joined the chapter of the foundation. And we have nearly 300 WordPress meetup groups now. I'm very proud of being part of one very special one in Greenland, which you can see here in the map. That is the one more in the north of the wall, and I was with Pierre, which is here, and we created just 3 months ago a small meetup group in Greenland, which is the first one, and that's another way of contributing to WordPress, just spreading the word. So, we are 20 people after just 2 months and a half, and it's a beautiful way of sharing knowledge and learning from each other. I love the philosophy of the WordPress community in general, and that's why, I don't mind. It's not that I don't mind. I love to use part of my time for doing things like this. So, another way, being a speaker. Being a speaker like this means, or like in a meetup or in a WordCamp or any kind of event, is another way of helping the project to grow. It's another way to spread the word about why this tool and why open source is so important in this field and in this ecosystem. And for example, a lot of people, I've been a speaker in several WordCamps, but the first step sometimes is just to try to share, to share your knowledge or to share something that you have done and you feel proud of it, or just to share your mistakes doing a project, and just to participate in your closest meetup group, which is normally meeting every month or etc. And you get so much, professionally and personally, when you just share things with the, part of your job or part of your daily basis with others, and get the feedback from them. So that's another way of contributing to the project, and at the end to get value for your, get more value professionally. Yeah, we have in WordPress.org in the profiles, we have those badges. So when you are a speaker in a WordCamp and you get that badge, I think it's a funny way when you just, people just see the profiles and you just contribute to another team. Hey, I get another badge. And I think it's a very cool thing in some way. Anyway, another super interesting way of helping the project is WordPress TV. There's so many talks and so many WordCamps all around the world in different languages that a lot of people don't understand, I don't know, Chinese or Spanish or etc. So another way to contribute to the project is to go to WordPress.tv and to help, for example, subtitling videos. Everybody can do it. So, for example, if WordCamp Denmark had I don't know, 10 talks maybe, 8 of them were in Danish, and you would like just to say, okay, I would like to add some subtitles into English so everybody will understand these talks. You just have to go to WordPress TV and get involved in the menu, and here you have the instructions on how to do it. Sometimes it's a question just putting 1 hour, and other times if you enjoy it, maybe you can just spend 2 hours or every month if you want. That depends the time you have. But if it's something that you like, it's a very interesting one. I have done it because in some way, every time that you're adding subtitles to a video, you're learning about that video because you have to reproduce it again and again, and you're listening at that person. And normally what I do when I'm subtitling videos in WordPress TV is I choose a talk that is interesting for me. So I get the value, I get the knowledge from the video, and at the same time I'm sharing, and I'm putting my little bit of work or a little bit of myself to share it with other people, for other people to understand it. I have done it with the Spanish talks to be able to, English speakers to be able to see the subtitles of the video. So it would be very interesting to have more Danish ones, for example, subtitle. So that's another way of contributing to the project. Another one, themes. So every time, how many of you have used themes in the WordPress repository in WordPress.org? Okay, that's a lot. The majority of here have done it. So when you go to WordPress.org/themes and you download a theme, you trust the repository. You know that that theme is clean. You know that that theme has the basic security, have passed the security filters, have been reviewed by a group of people that, you know, they make sure that it's not going to have, you know, spam or anything like that. So that's another way of helping. You can join the theme review team. They meet on Slack every Tuesday at 6 UTC on the channel Theme Review, and they do an awesome work. They review every single theme that is submitted to the repository, to be in the repository of WordPress.org, and they make sure that the theme has, you know, all the standards of quality and, you know, security, etc., to be able for everyone to trust the repository. So this is the blog. So here you can see what's going on in the team, in the team all the time, because every team we want to be 100. You know, we are 100% transparent about all the activities that we do, and especially in the community team where I'm working, we publish reports every week, like 4 or 5 reports per week, and every team we try to publish as much as possible of all the activity. So the theme review publish here a lot of stats and reports to be as much transparent as possible. So in make.wordpress.org themes, you can get a lot of info as well. And in make.wordpress.org plugins, you have you can find all the information about the team that review all the plugins. How many of you have used plugins with WordPress? Okay, it's everyone, right? Okay, so this is the same than with themes. You need to trust the source. If you don't trust the source, if you don't trust the repository, people will not use it. So there are developers, there are people that trust that check and test and the source code of every single plugin that is submitted to the repository. There are so many new plugins every week that there's a lot of that is a very big team, but on the other one they need always people. So that's a very nice way, or that very interesting way of learning the best practices, of learning about how to get the best practices for security, for coding, for standards, etc. Is a great way of improving professionally as a WordPress professional. So that's another team. The Meta one, they meet every Friday at 5, You can find it on Meta. And this is a very interesting team because what they do is to be in charge and to make WordPress.org, that is the website of the community of WordPress, better. So everything related with the WordPress.org sites, documentation, in general websites of the community, this is the team. If you want to, if you have been using the codex, or if you have been using the profiles, if you have been using WordPress.org in general, like the repository of plugins, for example, and you miss something, join the team, join the channel. That's the people, or that's the people to join them or to give them feedback. The core. I said at the beginning that you don't need to be a developer and to contribute to the WordPress project, and as you can see here, you don't need it because there are so many things to do. But of course, if you're a developer, you're more than welcome to join the project. The core team is bigger than ever right now, and you can find more variety of origins and different companies or freelancers or etc. than ever. And they meet every week at Mondays. You can find it in the Slack channel called Core. And you can see all the updates of what's going on in the future of the core of WordPress here in the blog, make.wordpress.org core. There are so many ways to start contributing to the core, and I know that it can be a bit overwhelming at the beginning when you think, oh, I'm not good enough for that. But there's so many ways to start contributing to the core. So if you go to the track is where you find all the tickets for improvements, for enhancements, for new features in the core of WordPress. And a lot of those tickets, if you're a developer, you can go there and you can find a tag that is for beginners. So that tag, you can filter all the tickets in the track, which are tagged with beginners or first patch, I think it is called. And if you're a beginner, is the best way to start contributing and to get a name in the team. Just, go to an easy ticket that you think that you can do, or maybe a challenging one, because everybody likes challenges. But sometimes a ticket is just to do a modification to fix something, which it can take you 1 or 2 hours, and you're going to learn a lot just seeing at the structure of that specific block you're doing. And that's a great way to start contributing. Go to the first patch tickets and just join the project. And we need testers. The thing is that if we will have 10,000 people testing WordPress and about over 60 million sites, that will be only the 0.01% of the sites. So there are a lot of things that get missed when there's not enough testers, and they're really, really welcome. I mean, you only have to, that is one plugin that you can install in your site, in your personal site or in a testing one. It's in the repository. It's called WordPress Beta Tester. So what that plugin does is that instead running in your site the last stable version of WordPress, is installing the beta version of WordPress. So that way you can start using the new features of WordPress from 1 month ago, 2 months ago, etc., and to report the bugs. So any bug you find, you have that URL. By the way, I'm sharing my my presentation in my website. So if I know that there are a lot of URLs, so if you want to, I will give you at the end of the presentation the URL so you can get all these addresses. So it's so easy. It's just use the plugin, use the beta version, and if you find a bug, go there and report it. So that's a great way of being a contributor to WordPress. And this way is a very cool as well, because if you're working for clients, or you're a freelancer or working in an agency, for example, and you know the new features beforehand, you can even start working, having in mind the new features or the new stuff that is going on in WordPress or is coming in the next stable version. So it's a very nice way of getting the project better and to knowing the software you work with better. Why so many people use WordPress? So many people use WordPress because it's easy to use. And it's not easy to use because it's a coincidence or it's just, you know, the universe made it like that. There is a lot of people working in the accessibility team to make WordPress accessible to people with disabilities and to make the UX, well, that's the next theme. But in any case, there is a lot of people working in the team, in the project, from all around the world in the accessibility team to make sure that everybody can use WordPress. I would love to see one day the 100% of the sites in the internet being accessible. And here you always, as you know, in the other teams, in this blog, in make.wordpress.org accessibility, you can see all the updates every day and every week about what the team is doing. So if you want to be updated, go to the blog. If you want to be active, go to Slack and say hello. It's so easy. You know, if you don't want to say hello and you still want to contribute, you can do it. Go to the forums and start, or go to the codex and start writing if you're shy. One of the, I've been very active in this team for 7 years now. So I'm Spanish, I speak English and Spanish. And just a few years ago, it was not so easy to find WordPress in so many languages. And a lot of times the translations were even not finished. The number of contributors that we have experienced in the WordPress project is growing exponentially. So one of the easier ways to contribute is if you are multilingual, is just translating WordPress. When I say translating WordPress, it's not only WordPress, it's not only, you know, like the platform. I'm talking about themes, I'm talking about plugins, I'm talking about that if you are using a theme, for example, and it's in the repository, and it's not in Danish, and your client is Danish, and is asking you to do it, for example, you should know, if you don't know it yet, that you can translate that theme into Danish, and you can just do it using translate.wordpress.org, and everybody in the world will be able to use your translation. So I'm talking about plugins, I'm talking about themes, I'm talking about WordPress as a tool, I'm talking about the websites in WordPress.org. So all the structure in WordPress.org can be translated into Danish. And I'm talking about apps as well. So for example, if you use Polyglot, if you go here, I'm showing you here the screen of Danish. This is like if you go to translate.wordpress.org and you select the language Danish, there is so many plugins. For example, Contact Form 7 is a very, very popular plugin for adding forms in your website, right? So it's not finished yet. Because it's, the progress right now is in the 88% of the plugins. So if you, for example, are using that plugin and your client is telling you, hey, this is in English, and I need it in Danish, you don't have to do that work only for you. You can do that work coming here, translating it, and everybody will be able to use it. Being a translator is a very interesting way of knowing, for example, new features. When I was translating plugins and you know, WordPress in general, a lot of times you find a string and you don't know what's going on. I mean, you don't know what it's about. So sometimes what you do is you install the plugin and you have a look at that page, or you see at the context, because you can, when you're translating, the tools are showing you the context. And this is a great way to explore new plugins, because there are so many thousands of new plugins in the repository that it's impossible to know about everything. And this is a great way just to see, I didn't know that a plugin was doing this, or a theme had this option, or whatever. So it's a very interesting way of contributing to, and to get a lot of new knowledge. And more. If you are a designer, you're welcome to join the channel of the team of designers in WordPress to improve WordPress and to improve WordPress.org in general. And marketing. If you know and you work in marketing and you're interested in working with marketing experts from all around the world and different companies, this is your team. This is a very interesting team. They're quite new, that's why I don't have their badge yet, but they're a very, very active one in the last year especially. So if you are interested in contributing to WordPress, I invite you to come to Vienna this June, at the end of this June, to work in Europe. We're going to have a contributor day, so on Sunday, the last day of the work in Europe, in June 26th, we're going to have this contributor day for welcoming experienced contributors and beginners contributors, and everybody can join any team, or you can even change to one team or to another one and to see what you prefer. We're going to be there. I will be in the community team, so if you're interested about starting a new meetup in your city, a WordPress meetup group in your city, or a WordCamp, or etc., just come to the community team and talk with us. And if you want to get involved, just join us. You do it at home or do it with us in Work in Europe. So thank you. If any of you are interested in the URLs of the presentation, I uploaded my presentation to my website, so you can find it in rociovaldivia.es. Any questions? Nothing? Everybody's going to be contributing tomorrow? Thank you very much.